Hi, my name is Devin Tamiato. This is my second year at St. Helens High School. This is my seventh year teaching, and I am here. Well, I came from Nevada, but this is my dog Flavia. She's joining us today because why not? My focus today is improving recruitment and retention for students with disabilities in our CTE programs, specifically art and media art. I think one of the most powerful things um, to think about is this concept that not every mind or body will experience art the same way, but every mind and body is entitled to the experience. This was different experiences are the power of art itself. And so I think I'm going to kind of break down what more about the population of students with disabilities. I think I'm going to talk kind of a bit about UDL, Universal Design for Learning, because I think it's an instructional strategy, and I think it's a fundamental way that we should be planning and front loading a lot of the lessons we give to address all of the different diverse learning needs. And then we'll talk about all of the barriers and strategies um, for this population. I think that this is pretty familiar to most teachers. I do think it's important to say that some of these are right. Disability is not static, right? Like some people get injured and they need accommodations physically, or they're going through a difficult mental health time and they need to um, uh, be given more care or different resources. And I think this is not like you are a disabled person, you are not a disabled person. I think there's a lot to this, and it's a really big category. But I think these are all of the different ways um, that are all of the different populations that I think might be underserved by the traditional ways in which we recruit, retain, and matriculate students through CTE programs. I think some of the issues is that students with disabilities can be underrepresented before, during, and after the courses, because at the beginning they might, for example, HTML. Oh, you have I mean, the student has an IEP. They're not doing well in math. Well, maybe math hasn't been applied enough, right? So they might do well in web design, but they're not given the opportunity. So their track kind of narrows. During the course, the instruction isn't good. They're made to sit on the computer and only watch videos. They're not given many different ways or a couple of different ways to engage with the content. So they might feel like things are not working out for them, and they fail the course. And then after the course, they don't want to take it, right? They miss IEP students completed pathways at less than half the rate of non-IEP students. And this begs the question, is your course open to everyone or accessible to everyone? And I think there are differences between the two. Um, Open to everyone means, right, everybody can come in, but accessible to everyone, the more accessibility you build into a course, the better it is for everyone, right? Just like curb cuts, closed captioning, automatic doors, easy group tools, ramps. And this is why I'm bringing up UDL, because I think it underpins a lot of the solutions I have to these barriers. And I think I need time to implement it into all of my lessons, right? It takes implementing multiple means of engagement, representation, and action and expression. It takes time and it takes a lot of front loading. What it looks like directly, for example, in my classroom would be allowing students to choose is the main thing, right? Allowing students to choose meaningful themes, allow them different ways of engaging with content and material, and allowing them to express themselves and show that they understand the content in different ways. So some specific barriers would be adult assumptions, right? And I think this is from like in the secondary sense, like meeting with a counselor, post-secondary, maybe meeting with an advisor, right? Is a student ready? Like, do they have the skills? So the forecasting, right, pushing students in a direction when they meet with this moment in which they meet with a counselor who might not know anything about your course could really make or break whether or not they even engage, and that then narrows their pathway. They could be really great artists, but they'll never get there because if you didn't do well in art one, you might not like this. So I think adult assumptions and assumptions in the way that they speak with kids about these courses, they need to be carefully planned. And I think that CTE teachers should be the ones leading that charge. All right, so that means student opportunity gets narrowed. So some ways to fix this, again, applying UDL concepts, applying universal design in recruitment, showing that success looks different for each student, And then protecting the access to forecasting, right? Like the students, if they're going to look at my class or they're going to think about my class, they're going to really understand it. So giving them the resources, allowing them the opportunity to maybe say, hey, in some of the resources for, do you want to take this class, you can build like a little, I built some patches in um, game maker, right? They can play around with some of these concepts to see if they like them, and then if they like them, then they take the class. Which I think accessible recruitment and retention is important. Another barrier is project overwhelm. So students get overwhelmed with Photoshop. The logistics of installing and deinstalling and moving files and blah 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 kind of block their ability to show their learning. So logistics hide their actual success in understanding the content, and then they disengage because they focus on, oh my gosh, I can't click this button right. Where I think a lot of these concepts are software agnostic, right? You can do the same thing in Photoshop or free tools, but I think some of this stuff gets lost in the ether. Um, a strategy for this would be predict learner variability, right? Some students do well with software, some don't. Some want concepts up front, some want software up front. Some want to know the tools before they can make the kind of philosophical concepts or the line, shape, color form. They need to know how to make it in Illustrator first. Some kids need to understand what line, shape, color, form, and how they work in 3D spaces. Giving them multiple different angles to approach something and designing your projects with that in mind. I think the main thing that is the backbone or the spine of these projects is checklist time cards goals. Here are the things you need to know. Here are the different ways you can approach the software skills. Here are the different ways you can approach the kind of more abstract skills, like the elements and principles of art, but then offer them different options in how they apply those things. Okay, show me that you know these things by doing this, and here's how I'm holding you accountable. All right. So these are ways to also they continue to be excited about their projects. Another barrier I could see is support gaps. So IEPs specifically, they stay very general and they don't really take into consideration what an IEP what CTE classes are and what tools we use. And I think especially if a CTE teacher isn't, if I'm engaged in the IEP process, I feel like we're expected to reduce the rigor instead of like giving them more options. So then the students fall behind. I skipped this. So yeah. So then I feel like and this is just not even just for students with IEPs, right? This could be any student, right? If I'm seeing that they're falling behind, these interventions that are early and these start with these support loops. And I use the weekly time card on Wednesday where we talk about your project. And these are checkpoints. And then there are clear recovery plans and performance improvement plans for not meeting our goals. So some of the supports I have are school-based, right? So IEPs, 504s, the references online programs. But these are great. And this is my 7th year, but I need more prep time. I really, really need more prep time. Please. I'm going over my time also. But this plan improves recruitment, retention, and rigor. And if I were to describe this to my boss, here are some of the ways I would mention it. And then completion, reduce reteaching. These are the things that admin like. But I think at the end of the day, this quote is very pertinent. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. So thank you. Sorry I went over.